Khamzat Chimaev vs. Kamaru Usman takes place this Saturday at UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi, and this card is absolutely stacked. Before I move on to my breakdown, I would like to remind you guys that this card has a special start time, so make sure to check what time this card starts for your local time so that you don't miss out. Khamzat Chimaev now takes on Kamaru Usman in the co-main event of 294, and this is because Paulo Costa withdrew due to an elbow infection that requires surgery around 3 to 4 weeks ago. I was originally going to be taking Khamzat Chimaev in this matchup. I thought Paulo Costa's takedown defense is being overrated, as well as his striking, especially his striking power. When you look at Paulo Costa's career, recently he's had some very lackluster performances, and he has not been active. You saw in the Marvin Vettori fight, he was being outstruck by Marvin Vettori, who hasn't had much success on the feet lately at all. Marvin Vettori's a guy that got outclassed and embarrassed by Jared Cannonier, and he made a very close striking match with Roman Dolidze, and I don't think anyone's really advocating for the striking skills of Roman Dolidze at all. Marvin Vettori is able to outstrike Paulo Costa. Not only that, he was able to take down Paulo Costa, and Marvin Vettori is not even close to the wrestler that Khamzat Chimaev is, and Khamzat Chimaev has a much more dominant wrestling approach as well. That would be something that Paulo Costa would not be very handily able to deal with, in my opinion. And when you also look at Paulo Costa's career, he was not able to KO Luke Rockhold. I firmly believe that Paulo Costa's power has been overrated because of his great, fantastic physique. He's a strong guy. It looks like he would be able to knock out anyone when he lands a big punch. But in reality, the greatest thing he's ever done when it comes to his power is knock down Yoel Romero, who was able to hurt him back almost immediately after. So I respect Paulo Costa. I think he's a good fighter, but in my opinion, the welterweights have proven time and time again that they are just much more skilled fighters. So in this matchup, I was predicting Khamzat Chimaev to find the takedown on Paulo Costa early and eventually ground and pound him out while Paulo Costa was trying to defend the chokes. The Paulo Costa matchup is definitely very interesting for Khamzat Chimaev, but in my opinion, the Kamaru Usman fight is much better. Kamaru Usman is a guy who has fantastic takedown defense. He's got a very boxing-heavy style of striking. He's got a great jab, which he's used a lot throughout his career to find success and pressure his opponents, which I think will have some success in this matchup. And if he does win this fight, it will be through facilitating the jab and landing it a lot against Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev in the Gilbert Burns fight has shown time and time again to be hit a lot. He got touched on the chin in almost every way possible by Gilbert Burns, on the front foot, on the back foot, by jabs, straights, hooks. Khamzat Chimaev is a very hittable fighter, but he's got a lot of power in his own right. He's got a very good chin, in my opinion. Now, Kamaru Usman is more powerful than Gilbert Burns, but Gilbert Burns does have a lot of power that people are underestimating. I think that Kamaru Usman is going to look to pressure Khamzat Chimaev, but he's really going to look towards rounds 2 and 3 where he's going to find the most success, and he's going to look towards round 1 as the round that I need to survive, and I need to find my range and make sure I don't get clipped by anything massive. But that's going to be a very tough task. When you look at Kamaru Usman's career, he hasn't really fought anyone at size parity. His recent title defenses are against Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, and Jorge Masvidal. He did fight Leon Edwards twice, and Leon Edwards is a little bit smaller than him, but he's also as close to size parity as he's fought recently, and he didn't succeed. Now, I don't think that's the main factor. The main factor that I would like to bring up about Kamaru Usman's flaw in his overall skill set is he's not very good off the back foot. We've seen time and time again his biggest struggles have occurred while on the back foot. Gilbert Burns rocked him twice in round 1 when he was pushing him up, pressuring him, and Kamaru Usman was on the back foot. Like I had mentioned, Colby Covington, he was dropped twice in the second round in his most recent matchup, and it was because Colby Covington was being backed up. Kamaru Usman was pressuring him, but then Colby Covington said, fuck this. I need to get the next 3 rounds to win this fight or even potentially get a draw, because round 2, in my opinion, was a 10-8. And I thought he got rounds 3, 4, and 5 because he started pressuring Kamaru Usman and meeting him in the middle. Now, Colby wasn't able to really pressure Kamaru Usman up against the cage all that often and really push him back because Colby doesn't have this insane pocket presence because he doesn't have all that much power, as we all know. But standing toe-to-toe, putting the pressure on Kamaru Usman created a lot of problems for him. And then you look at, not the Gilbert Burns fight, sorry, the Leon Edwards fight, especially the third fight, so the second title fight. Kamaru had to respect the kicks of Leon Edwards because he knew better than anyone, I need to block this kick. I am not going to get knocked out by a head kick again. That cannot happen. So what does he do? He puts a lot of emphasis on the high guard to block and keep his guard up from a head kick potentially being there. And that opened up the body kicks and leg kicks from Leon Edwards, which gave Leon Edwards a lot of respect from Kamaru Usman. So Kamaru Usman was found on the back foot a lot more and we were able to see Leon Edwards outstrike and school Kamaru Usman on the feet in the third fight. And the Gilbert Burns fight, another thing that I do want to bring up is that Gilbert Burns probably could have had Kamaru Usman out of there, or he would have had a very good chance if he didn't lay on his back like a fucking idiot. But all three of these opponents, Kamaru Usman's been the stronger guy. Leon Edwards is taller than him, but overall, when it comes to strength and size, I think Kamaru Usman is probably the bigger guy. And Khamzat Chimaev is the same. He's going to be at the same size as him and at the same strength as him. So that's something to mention as well. But Khamzat Chimaev is a guy who pressures. He's got some of the best pressure in the UFC because of his threat of the takedown and his threat of the hands. He's got great power in the hands. He's got very powerful takedowns. If you get hit, you could get knocked out. If you get taken down, you could get subbed or, what's the word? You get subbed or knocked out on the ground. Khamzat is an athletic fucking freak. He's young. Although his Gilbert Burns performance was not good and it was very, very worrying in this matchup, that was a year and a half ago. And we can see matchups like this where the hype prospect who believes in themselves all this much thinks they're invincible and gets fraud checked a little bit. It can humble them and change their game plan, force them to be a little bit more smart. And I think Khamzat's going to fight smart in this matchup. And also in the Gilbert Burns fight, I would like to bring up is he was throwing a lot of leg kicks in round one. Maybe not a lot, but like 4, 5, 6, something like that, because I believe his coaches were telling him to do that. I could see Khamzat following a game plan early here and being a little bit more passive than he was. I think he's going to start out by shooting a takedown so he can immediately get that respect from Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman's going to have to respect the fact that this guy can shoot in on me. I don't want to get taken down by this guy. He's very powerful. He has a massive takedown threat. Even though I have great takedown defense, I have to respect it because if I'm out of position and he shoots in on a takedown, this guy can get me down. That's the reality of it. Now, I think Kamaru is going to be a little bit passive. We're going to see him on the back foot because Khamzat Chimaev is going to shoot in on a takedown. Kamaru is going to stuff it. And then from there, we can see Khamzat working in some calf kicks because it's known that Kamaru Usman does not have very good knees. However, since he is taking this on short notice, Kamaru Usman's knees might not be hurting as bad because he hasn't been training as intensively as he would be for a full fight camp. So that's an interesting perspective to look at. But also, his cardio might be worse. But you also have to look at it is a 3-rounder, so it probably won't affect him as much as it will affect a guy like Alexander Volkanovski who's preparing for a 5-round fight. And I think Kamaru Usman, he's probably on some secret juice. He's probably juicing up, and I think his dad or whoever his EPO supplier got him with that cardio pack. He'll be fine. But I'm telling you right now, no matter how much juice he's taking, Khamzat Chimaev is going to be able to pressure him. He's going to shoot the takedown, like I said, and I think he's going to end up clipping Kamaru Usman. And he'll have some success with the calf kicks early, and then he'll take a couple risks. Kamaru's going to be landing the jab off the back foot, but Khamzat's going to keep piling in the pressure because he saw even when Khamzat Chimaev was getting hit by Gilbert Burns with massive shots, Khamzat was still putting on the pressure, still walking forward. Very interesting that he does that, but it's just the way he fights, and it's going to create problems for Kamaru Usman. Just the truth of it. Kamaru Usman's never been a fantastic counterpuncher. He's always been leading the dance, and he's not going to be able to lead the dance here. Like I'm saying, I'm telling you guys, watch this in the fight. You're going to see a different version of Kamaru Usman, and it's not that he's washed. I mean, he probably is a little bit washed. A lot of people are saying he's completely washed. He's ass now. I think it's somewhere in between. I think he's not as good as he used to be. He's definitely not in his prime, but he's not washed. I think we're just not used to seeing a guy like Leon Edwards or anyone school Kamaru Usman, so therefore he's washed rather than Leon Edwards is him. So, circling back to what I was saying, Khamzat Chimaev, I think, is eventually going to clip Kamaru Usman in round 1, and we're going to see Kamaru Usman initiate the clinch and survive the round, and it's going to get into round 2, and then Khamzat's going to get wild because he feels the finish coming. He's going to come out, he's going to clip Kamaru Usman, and now that Kamaru Usman's initiated the clinch, I think he's going to go shoot in on the takedown and take down Kamaru Usman, be threatening submissions, and as a result of that, the ground and pound shots are going to find a way there, and Khamzat's going to be raining down ground and pound shots. They're going to hurt Kamaru Usman. He's going to shell up, and it's going to be a TKO victory for Khamzat Chimaev in round 1. I trust him to be smart, and I don't know if that's a good thing to trust in because he showed me in the Gilbert Burns fight, this guy does not have the highest fight IQ. He seems dumb, and he loves wars. So that does scare me. If Khamzat Chimaev loses this fight, it's going to be because the jab of Kamaru Usman is super active. Khamzat Chimaev can't pressure Kamaru Usman because the jab is just so accurate, which I don't view Kamaru Usman as that accurate of a striker. I just view Kamaru Usman as the guy that you have to respect on the feet no matter what because he has insane power. But Kamaru Usman's chin's probably going to be a little bit better as well because he's not cutting as much weight. So In reality, when it comes to the short notice, I don't think it's going to affect Kamaru Usman all that much. It could even potentially benefit him because it's up in a weight class, so his chin could be better, his power could be better, his cardio might be a little bit worse, but it's now 3 rounds, and I think Kamaru Usman's definitely the guy that's preparing outside of camp. He seems to look in shape. I've seen on the embedded, I've seen on his Instagram. He's going to be in shape. So this is not going to be one of those matches where Kamaru is massively wounded at a massive disadvantage like a Volkanovski is. So ultimately, the pressure of Khamzat Chimaev and the strength and size parity of Khamzat Chimaev is going to make the difference in this fight. And I believe strongly that he will become the second biggest star, in the entire UFC if he finishes Kamaru Usman the way that I think he's going to finish Kamaru Usman and the way that I've been seeing a lot of other people predicting him to finish Kamaru Usman. With that being said, thank you for watching this video. I will have an Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev 2 video prediction coming out tomorrow and some other great content throughout this week. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this recent video. And as always, have a good one.